Pretty sure those are not my fingerprints.
Yeah.
But there's fingerprints today. Someone else was flying before us, eh?
I'm out here in Winnipeg for several days of intensive multi-instrument training with Luke at Harv's Air.
I put fingerprints on the sim a little bit, but haven't in here.
No, you've been very disciplined. Very impressed.
Knobs, man.
Knobs.
We made the commitment to go with knobs.
Facing this airplane was a challenge coming from the touchscreen world, and it was tougher than expected to step backward. Do you want to talk about the $600 button? It's like one of the most common stupid mistakes that will fail your flight test.
The $600 button, the CDI button.
So buckle up and ride along for some of my most humbling moments in real-world training. So due to the RV-14 having been offline for months, I was definitely far from current, and at best I did not have G1000 experience.
Alright, cursor. Oh my god, dude. Clear. Flight plan.
It became clear
Cursor.
that I'd approached this training not really fully realizing how much trouble I was going to have stepping backwards to the avionics in this thing, which is weird because it is pretty high-tech stuff on board. But having very little experience with the G1000, tripping over that, combined with trying to deal with single engine operations.
Yesterday it all kind of collided, right? We had IMC conditions, we're thinking about icing maybe, multiple approaches at different airports. It was everything, the full gamut.
I was going to need a lot more work than I could fit into the allotted time that I had here. So I'm admitting defeat for this trip.
I feel like that was one of the worst lessons at the same time as one of the best.
The goal had been to try to get flight test ready for the multi-instrument check ride within a week. I did not pull that off, but on the airliner on the way home, I reflected on all the great learning that I had captured.
So clear gets me out. Cursor. Destination.
This is one of the few times that I did something well with the G1000.
Very good. You went the short way.
Getting there. Getting there.
But I didn't get there. Ultimately, I just didn't have enough time to build the confidence to manage the G1000 FMS, and I made a really stupid mistake, and the process of reviewing it while editing here has essentially been a big debrief to help me ensure that I will never do it again, and maybe watching me suffer through it will help prevent one of you from making this error, and if that's the case, it's worth sharing my pain. So enjoy. Like that hilarious moment where I took like 6 tries to that's it, right? You're pushing the knob, no, I'm clicking, no, I'm outside the menu again.
Whereas in your workflow, it's just touch the thing I want. Very intuitive.
Yeah, there's multiple ways to get to it in my workflow, but it's always super straightforward. Yeah. And I don't have that problem where you turn the knob and then it takes away the entire thing you just put in.
Yeah, I mean, it's still the 430, the Garmin 430 way of thinking.
Which I barely got through. I didn't spend any significant time with it. And then after passing the check ride, I did not use the instrument rating for years, literally, while building this airplane, and finally started to do operational IFR behind this glass panel, which is all touchscreen, and I've got a toga button, which takes care of something that led to the mistake I made here.
Coming out of an approach in Winnipeg, we were shooting the ILS for runway 13 Zulu. And so that's green needles in the Garmin world.
Positive rate. You're up.
Which means we're doing a ground-based approach, ground-based nav aids. So coming out of the missed approach from that, our next plan of action was to shoot the RNAV approach at St. Andrews. So coming out of the miss, things were happening pretty quick. Even though this airplane, it's not the fastest around.
It's painful to watch the lead up to this. I'm really deep into editing the flight plan and I'm flustered with the G1000 FMS, and I've got the CDI uselessly on green needles, and just when I thought I had it sorted, ATC threw me a curveball.
X-ray Yankee Tango, I'm just going to change your holding point. You can turn left heading 360 until able to direct AVRAD. Let me know when you're able to direct AVRAD.
Give me the heading again for X-ray Tango, and just to confirm, we were looking for the RNAV 18, not a hold.
X-ray Tango, yeah, you're number 2 for St. Andrews. You can plan for the hold at AVRAD, heading 360.
360, planning for the hold at AVRAD, X-ray Yankee Tango.
Ooh, real world holding.
We had a tailwind, the proximity of airspaces. The things were happening fairly quick for you. So kind of in all that, you were getting vectored, to set up for that approach.
Enter that.
Watching Luke here is somewhere between hilarious and cringy. I'm obviously totally flustered, and it's destroyed my situational awareness, which is going to lead to my scan being completely broken.
I just need to erase my flight plan and start over.
Well, 17 Papa, call tower right now, 183.
Yeah, okay. Little knob. Where's the pause button? Pause button? Back. Almost had it there. Oh my god, this must be so hard to watch. Procedure. Select approach. Big knob.
X-ray Yankee Tango, actually I'll just give you vectors, slight laying vectors for the approach here. And you can plan for the hold, or sorry, the approach by Ketsi still. Turn right, heading 030. I think you just passed Ketsi.
030, right turn for X-ray Yankee Tango.
Okay. Procedure. Select approach. Enter. Yes. Back to Ketsi. Enter. At least it saved that. Enter, enter, enter. Ketsi. Heading. I should be on nav. Oh no, he's got me on heading. Alright, not gonna do nav mode. We wanna power it back to... We're not in a hurry now anymore? You're just a passenger?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying my Netflix.
Why? This seems like a pretty good show. That literally, lying in bed, that is my nightmare.
X-ray Yankee Tango, turn right, heading 090.
Right, 090, X-ray Tango.
We definitely worked on some of this stuff in the sim, but bringing it to the airplane adds a whole new level of pressure, and with the weather we were facing, I was definitely feeling a lot of stress, and I had very little confidence that the FMS was under control, and I was sitting there on a vector with the autopilot in heading mode.
And eventually you were cleared for the initial approach fix, but your CDI was still set from the previous approach, which is green needles from the localizer.
X-ray Yankee Tango, proceed direct Ketsi. Simulated RNAV approach, runway 18 enters VFR Ketsi transition.
Okay, proceed direct Ketsi, cleared for the simulator RNAV, 18, X-ray Yankee Tango.
So at this point, after having messed around with programming a hold and changing the initial waypoints more than once, I was very cautious about my flight plan being screwed up, and I was definitely fixated on that MFD screen, ignoring the obviously wrong CDI needles on the PFD right in front of me.
And so when you engaged the autopilot, it started to turn towards the localizer to track it, which you were expecting a left turn to the initial approach fix, and you're getting a right turn.
I don't like what it's doing. So I don't know why it turned right.
So that threw you for a loop, and you're like, what is happening right now? So you got an unexpected reaction from the autopilot when you engaged it into nav mode, and I'm just sitting there quiet because I felt like, you know, I want to see if you figure this out.
I don't know what the hell happened there. See, I was on the freaking ILS. Yeah.
On a flight test, if you don't catch that, I mean, real quick, that can cost you the flight test right there.
God damn it. So after the approach, I left it in ILS mode. Never.
Yep.
You're probably watching it the whole time being like, when's he going to notice that?
Yep.
So dumb.
I felt completely defeated at this point, but I think it was important that it had uncovered a deficit that I didn't realize was there.
The mistake you made with forgetting to switch to CDI is actually it's a very common error that new IFR students do.
The thing is, I'm not a new IFR student, but my experience is so singular and I've spent so many hours behind the panel of the RV-14, and in this specific situation, if I had pressed TOGA after an ILS, the system would have been ready to go, and I think it's called auto sequencing, where it would have switched from green to magenta needles for me. So I really don't think about the CDI button in what I'm flying now, but I'm glad I realized I need to start thinking about it.
So, yeah, I mean, for sure, it kind of stopped our plans with our really tight timeline, for sure. But any other student does make that same mistake, and we would just spend time in the sim, in the airplane, getting that right, getting the scan honed in. So this is not like a, you know, end of days issue that you have here. It's a common issue. We can train you out of that, you know, what you're used to, and get the scan tight again. Chances are you'd be ready for your flight test just a few days later.
Right. Yeah, so I just booked it tight. That was all we had. Yeah. I do feel like I learned a lot that I can take to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I saw some flaws I didn't know were there.
Well, that's what it's all about.